But yeah, we all decided collectively at some point in eternity, which is now, to have this incarnation and to have this human experience. That wasn't decided by individuals, but that was decided by the one mind. But the expression of that is these billions and billions of individual bodily expressions, right? Because that's what the first thing happens when you fall asleep and dream. You lose sight of the reality of oneness, and the first thing that you experience is multiplicity, separation, differences. And like I said before, everybody got what? Everybody got an opinion. But even in all of that seeming drama, that which is true and true always, which is love, is not affected or impacted by any of that. Just like that screen that you are looking at right now, you're looking at a screen and you see Catherine and Jill and Virginia and Jill and Sheila and Brenda and Oliver. Right? But what is permanent on that screen, because as soon as I hit the end button, you're not going to see any of us. But what is permanent is that the screen is always there. The screen never changes. And regardless of what we talk about, how we act, how we interact, the screen remains unimpacted or unaffected by any of the activities. So is our life, so is our reality. The one being that we all share with each other, the one being which is the God being, it never changes. Who you are in reality never changes. There's nothing that you have ever done or could ever do in your human experience can change your true identity or your true nature, which is love. Just like that big screen in the movie theater, or just like the little screen that you may be looking at right now. The screen remains the same, regardless of we get on here and we talk about Jesus or Buddha or the basketball game or politics or entertainment, regardless of what we talk about. The screen is unaffected. It just remains unaffected by any of the activity. So our true identity is secure. The Bible puts it this way. The Bible puts it this way. He says, what can separate us from the love of God? What can separate us from the love of Christ? And then Paul goes on to list all these things: not famine, not war, not controversy, not money, not anything could ever separate us from who we are. Nothing that is temporary could ever change anything that is infinite and that is permanent. So what is waking up no more than a re-recognition of our permanence of the Bible uses this term when it describes God, but it's really describing all of us when it says the immutability. They use it, a big word like immutability. That we are immutable, we are changeless, we are unalterable, who we are as love. And so That's the introduction for tonight. Hello, Brenda. How you doing? Hello, Jill. I know Jill is traveling, but she's listening in.
Hi,
And
everybody.
hey, girl.
Yeah.
Hi. And my daughter's here next to me, riding with me.
She got her riding mate with her tonight.
Yeah, I know, my travel buddy.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, she said hello. Oh, y'all remember she ate dinner with us one time
Yes.
with
Now,
Yolanda. That's this daughter, the oldest daughter.
what's her name? Now I know she has a name.
Oh, Lydia.
Lydia. That's right.
Yeah, we all had dinner together
Oh,
during the
great.
church thing one time, and we sat at the table with you and Yolanda.
Yes. I remember Lydia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting her join us.
Oh, listen. We just got through talking about nothing happens in our life or in our day that is ordinary. It's everything that happens. And this lesson talks about it. Every moment of our day is extraordinary. And Lydia being here with us tonight is an extraordinary moment.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
And she asked for this.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful what you ask for in life. We just want to make sure we're asking for the right thing.
Mhm.
Yes.
And the only thing that we need to ask for, according to A Course in Miracles, according to the Way of Mastery, even according to Scripture, the only thing that we really need to ask for, right?
Yes.
The only thing we need to ask for is the knowledge of the truth. Remember, Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth that you know shall what?
Set you free.
And
Make
shall
you
set you free." Yes. Oh, that's Miss Ann. Hey, Miss Ann, how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We got 3 generations of your family here tonight, and that just warms
Yes.
my heart. That warms my heart. That warms my heart. Yes. Great to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, look, uh, we're gonna jump right in. I think we acknowledged everyone. Hopefully Yolanda gonna be joining us at some point. She had 3 appointments today, and by the time she gets home at 5, 6 o'clock, she has to take a nap. So I think she's gonna join us before we get off tonight. At least I hope she does.
We'll
So
see.
yes,
We'll hope with you.
yes. So lesson 3. I think we started the last time. So tonight we're going to be jumping right in again on the subject of the power of forgiveness. And this is a subject that, like, it would really take multiple lifetimes to really exhaust what this means when it talks about the power of forgiveness. And so hopefully you guys have had opportunity to look over this lesson. If not, if you're here, you're gonna be filled with the Holy. You're gonna be filled with the Holy Spirit as we go through this. You know, Yolanda and I have been in the business of mentoring for a long time, and a lot of our mentorship has taken place among the young people. There was one point in our life where we had all the children in our community. Yolanda was head over the nursery, and then both of us were head over the youth ministry at one point in our journey. And so we had all the teenagers, we had all the babies, we had all the toddlers. You know, we had everything from 0 to 21. Right? And we were in a mentoring role. And I don't know why I mentioned that. I just lost my thought on it.
No, it's a lot of responsibility.
But anyway, it is a lot of responsibility. Oh, this is the point I wanted to make. That regardless of the age, and regardless of the age or the nationality or the gender or the race or any of the labels of the world, we always found that when we got on this subject of forgiveness, even with the young people, it was always the subject matter that led to someone's healing, someone's freedom, someone's life in some cases. Because this subject transcends age. It don't take but a few weeks or months of being on this planet to be challenged with having the wrong perception about yourself and others, or to be challenged with holding agreements towards yourself or others. It don't take very long. If you observe a 8-month-old or 12-month-old, when they get frustrated because mommy and daddy's not bringing the food fast enough, or they can't have their favorite toy, or they can't, they're not ready to go to sleep, or whatever it might be, from the first few months of their life or till the age of 10 or 15 or 18. It doesn't take very long to live in this human state for you to accumulate what we call forgiveness lessons. And if we're still here in this human experience, and we are, then there's still more forgiveness lessons for all of us. Why is that? Well, just like we collectively made the decision to be here on this journey, or unlike we collectively made a decision to be here. That was one decision from a tiny mad idea of what would it be like to be individualized, to be individuated, to be separate from God, to live in a world that where we're the God of the world. So, though we collectively decided to have this experience as one, that decision was made as one. But in the waking up process, we individually make the decision to awake to our true self, to wake up out of that dream. Right? It appears that way because at some point in your life, you decided that something wasn't right. Something wasn't right about you. Something wasn't right about the world. And you was determined to find out or to awake from that, from being in that state. Mm-hmm. So you individually decided to awaken or to remember or to re-recognize, because remember, the Course of Miracles says awakening is merely nothing more than a recognition. Recognition means to remember something that you knew before, that at some point you lost the memory of that, and now you recognize it, you remember again. So it says awakening is no more than a recognition. It's not anything that we do. It's not anything that we can earn. It's not anything that we deserve. Right? It's not anything that we can make happen ourselves. It's just a decision that you want to wake up from the dream, like the child laying in the bed having a nightmare.
Wake up from the dream.
When they wake up from the dream that the boogeyman is not after them, that the big bad wolf is not after them, that they're not falling off the cliff. When they wake up and realize that they are safe at home in mommy's bed and daddy's bed, you know how it is when you're waking up from a nightmare. Sweating, right? You know, all the feelings and emotions that can be in a dream. And when you finally wake up and realize, oh my God, I was dreaming, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And that's the same kind of experience that we have in our own life, right? We remember, oh no, I'm in my mama's bed, man. I'm not up in New York somewhere, around the globe somewhere, right? You know, I'm not being kidnapped by, you know, the villains. That's not really the truth. That's not really what's happening. No,
Amen.
I'm safe at home.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm gonna make a little, bear with me, I'm gonna make a little space here because the Queen has walked into the studio. And so I'm gonna make a little room for her. I told the community that I was hoping that you was making your way up here. And so here you are. And we're happy you're here.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. Yes.
That's the-
Hey, Yolanda.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi,
yes,
Yolanda.
yes.
Hi,
Well, Jill is driving from DC and she got her sister Lydia with her.
her daughter.
Her daughter Lydia.
I saw her text.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, all right. So how are you doing? You get your nap out?
No, I'm tired.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, did you? Okay.
All right, so remember now, when we first started and decided to get on this book study, The Way of Mastery, we first learned that what is mastery? What's the purpose of it? And we said true mastery is learning to choose love in every situation. You remember that? So the goal of the book itself is to help us to learn how to become masters of the truth. And we become masters of the truth by practicing choosing love in every situation. Jesus proved to us that it could happen, that we can do it. And the same ability that was in him, in his walk, is in us. We have the power, like it says, like in 1 John, it says, allow perfect work, allow perfect love, allow love to have its what? Perfect work in us. And what is that perfect work? Learning how to choose love in every situation. And in this lesson, it talks about that kind of extensively. How do we choose love in every situation versus judgment, versus being judgmental, versus not understanding that we all act out of sorts when we become afraid And the reason we become afraid is in that same First John. He said we become afraid because we're not letting love have its perfect work. Because it says, perfect love casteth out what?
Fear.
All fear. Right? And it says fear has what? Y'all Bible scholars. It's because fear has what? Torment. And when we operate out of fear, then our propensity is to judge and not to understand that not only ourselves, but our brother and our sister is acting in such a way because they are crying out for love. That's their way of saying, I need help. And it used a couple of examples in here when it said, like, you know, how could you not get upset? When is being upset justified? Where it says being upset is never justified. Just because the stranger came in your home and stole your 65-inch TV. And you
Cowboys are gonna be playing that the next
yeah,
day.
and so you feel justified getting angry versus choosing love in that situation because you called that situation to yourself. Hello. If we're going to accept the truth that we create all our experiences, if we're going to accept the reality that we call everything to ourselves, then and only then is where the mastery can take place, because it said unless we accept that reality, then we're in denial. And if we're in denial, we're just going to continue to have lessons come back to us over and over and over and over again until we learn the lesson.
I thought we said that some of the things that we encounter happens just because we're in this realm.
We've already said that we made the decision collectively to be here. And when we made the decision collectively to be here, we also accept what is in that environment. If I decide to walk out the door right now, and it is pouring rain, because we can hear it. If I decide to walk out that door right now, then I am subject to what?
Getting wet.
Why? Because it's in the environment.
Yeah.
So if we are here having an incarnation, having a human experience, right? We're in an environment where there's unlimited experiences that we can have. Some of them are just because we're in an environment, and most of them because of our own choices. But in reality, we come to the conclusion, like it says here in this chapter, that and I can't find it right here, but I'm going to find it. It says nothing that we experience has been caused by anything outside of us. Now I'm gonna pause right there, because I know somebody may have, that may not be landing quite right. So I'm gonna pause right there. And if there's anyone that thinks that that's not
Yeah, it's not that. I don't want anyone to think that you deserve any kind of punishment because you're experiencing something that is unpleasant to experience. So there could be a misinterpretation
yes.
of events. And some people believe, I used to think that, oh, what I've done, God is against me. This bad thing is happening to me. God, don't you love me? And I know other people say that sometimes too, but with maturity, you realize there's a lesson that, to learn. And sometimes just a practice. I was listening to somebody today. They said, you master what you do over and over and over again. So if you have to forgive over and over and over again, you're practicing love over and over again until you master it. I don't know.
That's right. That's right. There is no punishment. There is no, but that is what we were taught. That God is vengeful and he's jealous and, all these things that are such human emotions. And, that wouldn't be, I mean, it just never ever made sense, to me. But it's because that the laws are already in the land. So if you stick your hand in fire, burn is already in fire. So it's not that so in that case, it would be your decision to put your hand in the fire. Okay. So but it's not that, like you call the fire to you, or like you call the rain to you, although we could.
Yeah,
Although we could.
like burning is in the fire, wet is in the water,
Yeah.
right? If you decide to become combative, right? And controversial, just because you want to be combative and controversial, and you can be that because you're grown. Then within that, if you decide you want to be angry, if you decide you want to hold grievances, if you decide you want to blame someone else for your condition, you have the freedom to do we have the freedom to do all those things. But within those choices,
There are results.
there are consequences or results that we don't get to control. We do get to control the decision to hold a grievance, to judge,
To be combative.
to be
To
combative,
be controversial.
to be controversial, to bring harm or hurt to someone else,
To refuse to forgive.
to deny the truth. We have all the freedom to do that, and that'll never be taken away from us. But what we don't have,
Even when it is not in our best interest.
yes, but what we don't have control over is the equal response, or the equal or greater response that will come out of that, right? Because everything in this three-dimensional world has within it, the fruit is already in it. And like this law
The seed-
said,
The seed is already there.
and like the law said, every fruit produces after what?
After
Its own kind. So if you choose to,
Every fruit.
if you-
produces
so if you-
its kind.
yeah, so if you choose to go on a rampage,
Every-
right? And say if you're in
mm,
a close relationship and you decide that you want to
C-O-N.
go on a rampage of proving to the other person that you're superior or inferior, or that they don't have freedoms that you have, then the outcome of that is not going to be to your liking. Right? And you can't control the outcome.
That was the terminology that our children decided to use whenever one of them would get worked up. They would say, "Oh, he's rampaging," or "Oh, she's rampaging." That was their word. I guess we read a book. And anyway, but they took to that little that saying. So it was
Yeah.
rampaging. Mhm.
Yeah, but listen what it says here on page 30.
Do the section just in case it might.
Yeah, it's on page 30. We're in lesson 2.
No,
lesson
I'm saying
3.
I'm saying it's in the
It's in the section on the awakening
Awakening
requires
requires
vigilance and diligence.
vigilance and discipline.
Discipline.
Mhm. Just in case of.
It says, it talks about the fact that we're all here because we made some decision to awake from a false identity that we were experiencing to come to know the truth. So like we said, the greatest decision to make is the decision to wake up, right? And so it says here that we've all made that decision at some point individually. it says, it begins in simple ways. To set the stage, I want you to remember that time has been given to you that you might use it constructively. The life that we have, we can either use it constructively or destructively. That means that when you awaken in the morning, realize that you are in school. You do not have to drive anywhere. You are already there. The universe is literally helping to assist you into having experiences that will bring things up for you so that you can choose to look at them differently, thereby discovering the great power within you, the freedom within you to choose what you want to perceive and to elicit only what you want to feel. So that even if nails are being driven through your hands, I don't think any of us had that experience, you finally are liberated in the power to choose only love, and therefore to overcome this world, or to overcome the false self, because that's what the world represents, is a false identity. Having said this, it says, understand that each of your days is a blessing and a gift if you use it for the full commitment of awakening. Your days is chock full of a million opportunities to discover a deeper truth. Therefore, never feel that the purpose of your life must be something other than what you are involved in. In other words, he's saying here that we're always in the right place at the right time, that our life is perfect, that our path is perfect, that the things that we need to know, the things that we need to learn can be known and learned right where you are. You don't have to go to a synagogue. You don't have to go on a sabbatical. You don't have to go be a monk up in the mountains. We don't have to do any of these
You
things.
don't go build a monk.
We don't go build a monk
No,
or
you don't have
be
to
a monk.
become a monk.
We don't have to isolate ourselves. We don't have to pay tithes and offerings. We don't have to pray 3 times a day
Or 5 times.
or 5 times a day. We don't have to do any of these things, and there's a long, infinite list of them that humanity has done from the beginning of time as an attempt to justify themselves.
But two things. So one, those things that we've been doing, those could be considered as practices, okay? And some people know that they're practices, and then other people just decide to take advantage of the practices. And then the other thing is, when we encounter things that we don't necessarily think is good, or that we think we didn't want, we have that, well, we call it blessed assurance, because we know that all things can work together for our good. So it doesn't matter what it is, it can work so that it's good for us.
So, therefore, never feel that the purpose of your life must be something other than what you are involved in. For remember what we spoke of earlier, that you are literally creating everything you choose, and nothing is forced upon you. You're here tonight in this session because you chose to. It wasn't forced upon you. Right? Would everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna read a little more. It says, now we're going to take that thought just a little deeper for a moment. It literally means that if you have decided you want to awaken, you have already called to yourself every experience that can truly best serve your awakening. Think about that.
That's comforting. Mhm.
That means that our life is perfect, just the way it is. In all its seeming messiness. We call this to ourselves because this is the thing that is perfect for us to support our awakening.
To bring about our maturing.
Yes.
That's the only thing that perfection means.
Yes, yes. And so it says it best serves our awakening. The relationships that we're in, where we find ourselves professionally, where we find ourselves socially, where we find ourselves religiously, where we find ourselves physically, is the perfect place for your discovery, for your unfolding, for our maturity. Perfect. So if we're looking at someone else's life and wishing that that could be our life, we're sadly mistaken, right? It would be so imperfect for us. And then it goes on to say that the friends, the family, and the people that you have relationships with are those who likewise can best gain from the experience elicited through relationships with you. It means that that right here and right now, you are already demonstrating the power that you are seeking. The power to truly choose to awaken and to command the whole of creation to serve you in that awakening. Therefore, when you awake in each of your mornings, look around. Who is that sleeping next to you? And it could be the dog, the cat, right? It could be your mate. It could be your child. They are your perfect companion. Your perfect companion. But we may be holding ideas about them, right? Of imperfection. They are a messenger of God or a messenger of love. For just behind your experiences, there is something deeper taking place. Because your mind is resting right next to the mind of God. When you first said as a soul, I want to awaken. I want to know the truth. I want to experience reality. I want to go home. The Father answered your prayers and began to send the thoughts through your spirit and through your soul to your conscious mind.
And this is the thought.
And this is the thought.
Mhm.
I know how to direct you home. Give up this career and start that one. Move from this location to that location. And you begin to feel all manner of impulses. You begin to read different books. You begin to do different things. That's how all of us got here in this space. You remember when God told Abraham, he said, Abraham, I want you to leave your country. I want to show you a land of what?
Milk and honey.
Milk and honey. You said you want to wake up, Abraham. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take Sarah. I want you to take your child. And I want you to take this and that, right? And I want you to leave. And Abraham left. You met someone and fell in love, maybe. I know it happened to me. All of this by accident? Hardly. The very thought that you would claim as your own from which you have created the world of your own personal experience is also literally the result of your prayer to awakening. So we're here tonight in this extraordinary moment as a result of our desire to awaken to the truth
That is true.
that is true always. And that is, like he said at the very beginning, in the first sentence, that I come not for myself, but for you. I come not to teach you, but to love you until you choose from the depth within your own being to set aside every illusion that you have ever given credence to about yourself and to remember the truth that is the longest truth. So our whole incarnation, our whole reason for being here is to wake up to the truth and to come to know ourselves. And to not to come to know ourselves as individual selves, but to come to realize that there is only one self, that there is only one being, and we're all a part of that one self, that one being. We all share in that one self and that one being.
Mhm.
That in reality, there is not multiplicity, there's only oneness. That's the awakening that we so desire. That is what is at the heartbeat of every soul on this planet that has ever graced this planet or that will ever come to this planet. That is their desire to go back home. And then and to wake up to that reality. And so I was gonna finish this. Okay, yeah. So the Father is creating, assisting you to create just those experiences as stepping stones that will carry you where you are to where love is. And love is not absent, but love is present. That you discover that the thing that you were looking for, you were looking from the thing that you were looking for, because the thing you're looking for is you.
Do they use the word one being or one mind? What is written there?
I use the word being.
Oh, okay.
Right. And within that one being, there is but one mind. Right? The mind is just like there is but just one being, pure presence, pure awareness, right? Love is one. Love is all encompassing. Within love is the capacity to think. Within love, the function of the mind basically is it really is not required until it really wasn't required, right? Mental assent was not necessary until we fell asleep in the dream of separation.
So would you call love a being?
I don't call love anything. The moment we call it something, then we have limited it, the idea. So it's not really a being.
It's
Love
not-
is, put it this way, it is, it merely is.
And he ceased to speak.
And it ceases to speak, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, but we use word to communicate, right? Because every word has limitations. We've already talked about this. The moment, the Tao Te Ching says, the moment you name something, then you have put limitations on it. And that's what the limited mind does, right? Right. Our human experience has come at the expense of limitation that we placed on ourselves by forgetting who we are. See, the mind was never designed to lead us, to guide us. Right? In true reality, in heaven, in where there is no duality, there is no need to think. There is no need, there is no need to reason. There is no need to perceive. All these are temporary concepts. Because in pure presence, there's no need for any of those things. These are only gifts and helpful tools that are used for our awakening. Even the concept of forgiveness, that is a temporary idea to help us
It's a practice.
bring us to the door of reality. But in heaven, there's nothing to forgive. In reality, there's nothing to forgive.
So it is a practice that we
Yeah.
do down here.
Yeah.
Even, and even the book says,
You know,
the book says, when it says, you know, who is that person sleeping next to you? They say they are your perfect companion. They are a messenger of God. For just behind your experiences, there is something deeper taking
something
place.
deeper taking place.
It's because your mind is resting right next to the mind of God, but we know that we are one with God, so
Right.
we're not right next to.
Right.
So I mean, so even
There
in
is
trying
but
to
one
do-
mind,
yeah,
right.
even in trying to, you know, to write the book, you know, there are limitations
Right.
that they're
Absolutely.
but they're doing it for us to be able to relate to
Right.
it.
Right. This is a tool, a progressive tool to help us to awaken from the dream. Because just think about it. When mother used to walk in on one of her 7 children and she knew they were having a nightmare, but she also, you know, in their own mind, but in reality, she also knew that they were safe at home in their beds. And when we was growing up, it was never one in the bed. It was either 2 or 3 in the same bed. Because when you got 7 children in 2 bedrooms, hello,
It's gotta be some doubling up.
you got to be some doubling up.
Double, tripling up.
So I could be in the bed having a nightmare next to Harold or next to Cecil or Michael. They sound asleep. And mama comes in the room because she hearing, you know, some noise. You know, sometimes, you know, when you was a kid or even maybe an adult, you get so caught up in the dream that you actually verbalize something out, right? I'm sure all you had that experience. Come on, y'all, listen. Everybody raise your hand if you had that experience. All right. I know this one sometime. I like, baby doll, it's okay. It's okay.
And nightmare I mean, I was probably I was getting ready to go into my teens, I think it was. And I read that scripture that said that he promises us sweet sleep. And from that point on, from reading that scripture on, whenever I have a dream that has me concerned or has me be breathing hard, I say, oh, no, I get back in that dream and I fix it. I turn that thing around. So I do not have nightmares. You know, I may be out of breath because I'm running, chasing somebody down, but I'm gonna go back in there and make that thing right. I'm like,
Well,
I'm not doing that.
I ain't concerned about that because why
That's what I used to do.
fix an illusion with an illusion?
I'm saying this is what I.
I know,
this is what
I know,
used to
I
do.
know. I'm just,
I used to tell this. I was like, I'm not, that's not about to happen. I went back in that dream and I was victorious because that's who I am.
yeah.
I don't do it now because I don't have nightmares now.
So mama knows that her 7 children are in her house that she paying mortgage on, in her beds that she bought, under her covers,
Say,
safe, warm by the heat that she's paying for. She knew that was the reality on this level. But the experience of the child, they were in danger. They were fearful. Something was bad happening to them. And it was real to them until they what? Wake up. So the worst thing mama could have done was to go over to the bed and vehemently shake the child. Why?
Got that to start.
It would startle the child.
Mhm.
No. But what she might do is gently begin to whisper, Oliver. And she didn't call me Oliver when I was a kid. She called me Junior. It's all right. It's okay. Gently, right? To gently wake the child up, lest they be even more afraid by being vehemently awakened, right, from a state of shock, right? So likewise, we've been given all, like you said, your life is perfect because everything in your life, everyone in your life is being used to wake you up gently. Every situation, every circumstance, every condition in your life is being used. But it may seem like they are an enemy to you, and that only because you are resisting, you are in denial, and instead of pausing, right, and resting, we are in denial, we're in resistance. And you know how it is when you're in denial and when you're in resistance, it creates pain, doesn't it? It's like a lady in labor, like a woman that's giving birth. She has those birth pains because there is some resistance to the contractions versus flow. You know, because in Lamaze they teach you to what? Go with the contraction, right? To breathe with the contraction. But where there's a resistance, and why is there resistance? Resistance comes as a result of fear. So we resist. So when like you said, what we resist, it persists. It doesn't go away. It gets what? It gets more pronounced, right? So we have to learn how to relax. We have to learn how to let whatever is emerging in our life, to let it happen without judgment, to quit resisting, right? Because if the scripture be true, that all things are working together for my good or your good, if that be true, then there's not.
Since that
And
is
since
true.
that is true, then that means that you're not vulnerable. You're not a victim, right? If everything is working together, that means that nothing that may appear in this three-dimensional world that can't work together for your good. And what is your good? Your awakening. And though it might appear to be adversarial, it only appears that way because we're in resistance or we're in denial. And when we're in resistance and denial, what it says here, instead of us choosing for love in the moment, what it says is we're going to project our fears. We're going to project that which we don't like about ourselves. We're going to project it on what? On others. And there's a whole section in here on the veil of projection. Can anybody read that part? But we need to spend a few moments on understanding what projection is. So that's kind of like the way our life been going, and it didn't make sense to us. And we've been trying to navigate. When we try to navigate who we are from a false self, life is hard. Life is very hard and becomes real messy, right? And real discouraging. But when we get the mind of Christ, that's why Jesus said, let this mind be in you. And then when he talks about the mind has to do with understanding. Remember, the scriptures also said, and all you're getting, get what? Get understanding. Why? Because without understanding, what we don't know will hurt us. Remember, we said here many times that the greatest cost in life is not your mortgage, it's not your taxes, it's not your, it's not that yacht that you own, or it's not the college tuition that you have to pay for your kids. That's not the greatest cost in life. The greatest cost in life is what? Not what? Not knowing. It's not knowing. So when we don't know, see, remember now we get back into our coaching when we're talking about none of us can live beyond our awareness. None of us can live beyond what we know, right? It's impossible. And so if we have a scarcity mentality, if we have an idea about God being something separate and apart from us and superior to us, we can't live beyond that, because if something is superior, then there has to be something that's what? Inferior, right? And there cannot be any love where there is superiority or inferiority. There cannot be the experience of love. So you have to embrace the truth, which says what? As God is, so are we in this world. Or you have to go to Philippians chapter 3, where it says, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. You go into some of these religious communities and talking about you have equality with God. You may get some nails in your hands, because that's exactly what happened to Jesus of Nazareth. Because that's exactly what he was saying. I and my Father, we are one. When you seen me, you have seen the Father. Right? That would be the same way with my two sons. If my two sons walked in the house right now and said, I have equality with my Father, I wouldn't deny that, because that's true. And that's why Jesus used the Father-Son metaphor to get us to understand the oneness that we share, right? The oneness that we share with God, that we're God, and that there is no separation. There is no God outside of us. That if God ever going to experience anything, he experiences it as you, because you are that. And that is you. Jesus said it this way, I and you and me, we are one. Whatever's in the vine is in the branch. All these parable statements that he was making, he was trying to bring us to the understanding of who we are, that we are the very manifestation of the divine. Not in body, but in essence. If you go to the ocean and the waves are constantly coming upon the shore, but what you'll notice is no two waves are alike. They're all different. They're all a unique expression. They all come and they temporarily express themselves to the shore. And then what happens next? They emerge back into the depths of what? Back into the depths of the ocean. A temporary expression. Your life is a temporary expression. You're here for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus years. And you are this unique expression. If you search the world over, you couldn't find another Catherine or Brenda or Sheila or Lydia or Jill or Ann or Yolanda or Oliver. You couldn't find one. That's how unique the expression is. But just because there are a multitude of unique expressions, that has not destroyed oneness. It's the same source. Each expression is a reflection of the same one source. When you look up at the sun at midday, and you see the different sun rays or sunbeams that are extending from the sun, each beam, each ray is different. And it's a unique expression, but it's a representation. It is an extension of the one sun. And so that's who you are. That's who we are in our individuated expression. We're but a reflection, but an extension of that one source, that one being, that one reality. It's no separation. There's no difference between God and you. So I'm gonna pause right there because Sheila does have a hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna build on what you were expressing, Oliver. I've been reading this book by D.E. Polk, and in it there's a section where he says that he talks about God is God is in me, through me, as me. He's not on the way or in the past, but God is me. And I just try to basically building on what you're saying, but that's kind of a saying that I try to keep in mind always, you know.
Oh yeah, it's expressed, that truth is expressed in so many ways.
Yeah.
In so many metaphors, written and seen. There's a scripture that says that all of creation it says that creation is so designed that even the creation, we could just look at the creation, it will teach us these realities. If you look at the heavens and the stars and the galaxies and if you look at everything, it expressed the beauty and the glory of the oneness that we share.
Even our bodies.
Even the bodies.
Even our bodies. I mean, the fact that everything works and works like it does without us having to really put forth a whole lot of thought or effort or whatever. I mean, just the fact that so our bodies are just like that universe. And that's actually what I wrote down when I woke up the morning after I got the diagnosis, and I was talking about, how I lean on the Holy Spirit, who keeps the universe, in order. My body itself is just like that.
So the power of forgiveness is just the idea of letting go of everything that we have ever conceived about ourselves and about others that is not true. And only embrace the truth that is true always about us.
Yes.
Right? The world as we see it here in 2025 in its catatonic state. Catatonic state?
Lord, sometimes you say it and I can't even think what the real word is.
The world as we see it. And you guys, you
That's
guys,
a state of being comatose. Is that what we're trying to get to?
you all live in the same space that I do. We all see what's happening around us. We all sense the increased anxiety and fear that people are experiencing. This sense of that there's not going to be peace, there's not going to be enough, that if you're not on the right team or in the right side or in the right color or the right nation, or if you're not in the right this or that, then your fate, not faith, fate, F-A-T-E, has been predetermined. And all of this is just a display of what happens when we miscreate out of ignorance, out of not knowing, out of a false self, and where we try to save ourselves. We have an authority problem. That word authority means authorship. When we see how Jesus described how the end times will be and how men will be lovers of themselves, or mankind, not just male men, but mankind would be lovers of themselves, and that men would be so afraid of sharing, so afraid of equality, diversity, inclusion, be so afraid of that they would absolutely destroy their own nation, their own habitat into rubbles, versus choosing love and allowing everyone to eat from the same table. That's the condition that we observe right now. You see some nations that they are destroying other nations to rubble, versus allowing everyone to eat at the table. That condition is just an extreme example of nails in the hand. And it's an extreme example of, and not of like Jesus's experience of being crucified. That's just an extreme example of how far the ego will go to keep the lie going, to keep the son, or to keep humanity divided and separated, to keep fear as the order of the day. And the only solution to that, is to awaken unto the truth, is to wake up to the truth. So it is 8:19, and I have spoken a lot, and I have
And raised his hand.
and I have so much,
Until the hand kept coming up.
and I have so much more to say. And this lesson has so much more to say to us that we're going to spend another week on it.
And we really haven't gotten into the projection part.
And we haven't got, next week, we're going to talk about projection, because we really need to understand that, because most of us,
Yeah.
all of us, not most of us, all of us, that's our default. That's what we default to when we become afraid of love. And we all have the opportunities to do that every day. When we become afraid of love, in other words, when we deny who we are and deny who our brother is, and when I say we deny who our brother is, we're denying who we are, because I and my brother are one and the same. Then our default is to go into projection. That's just a calling out for love. Because remember, in the Course of Miracles, it says that we're either expressing love in every moment, or we're crying out for love. When we become the victim, when we feel like we've been unfairly treated, when we feel like when we deny the fact that I've created my own experiences, when we deny the fact, or when we refuse to accept the fact that my brother is crying out for love, and we rather judge them versus being mature to understand they're crying out for love, that this is more than about the TV, and more than about the car, it's more than about the money. There's a deeper thing at play here, right? And we all sometimes get afraid of that reality, and then and like I say, the default is projection. And so we're going to talk about projection in our next session, because really we need to understand that is where that is where we have the opportunity to choose love over fear. Right. So I'm gonna stop right there, because I want to let the last 8 or so minutes be an opportunity for anybody to comment or say something or whatever. Hey, you guys have anything to say about what's been said? I'm gonna take it off our spotlight. Put all of us on the screen together. Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, I'll just say that, you know, this lesson is, I mean, for me, it's just an opportunity for a lot of self-reflection. You know, the projection, especially projection, because I think it's something that you don't realize is in you, that you're, you know, reflecting, you know, projecting on someone else. So I would like to explore that idea a little bit more, maybe read a little more about it. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of work to do, is all I'll say.
Well, it's not that you have a lot of work to do.
It's, you are now aware.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware that I have a lot of
Now
work to do.
aware.
Yeah. Because do you know how do you know how much time it takes to heal?
A lifetime,
No,
An
it
instant.
takes no time.
no time.
Yeah. The moment you
Decide.
the moment you decide
Okay. Yeah.
that you're going to be the only thing that you can be, which is love,
All right.
like Jesus said, in the twinkling of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we want to hold on to some of our personality, some of the things that we've made, right, and we've depended on to save us and to protect us.
Yeah.
As long as we hold on to those things, then that's why we got work to do.
And we certainly don't understand that when we're projecting, we're doing it, to ourselves.
We're doing it
Because
to
whatever
ourselves.
We're doing to someone else,
Right.
we're actually
Because-
doing it to
Yeah.
ourselves.
Because, yeah, you're right. Because look,
You actually have to forgive yourself for
yeah,
projecting onto the other person.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just to give you a spoon taste. What is projection? Projections occurs when there has first been denial within yourself. So you have to be in denial in yourself for projection to happen. So when you deny yourself, it says projection is an act in which you physically or cyclically, that's how you pronounce that? Cyclically, in your mind, it is when projection is an act in which you psychically try to throw out of your ownership everything that you have judged as being despicable or unworthy of you. Something you do not want.
So because you don't want it,
You
You'll
will
project
project it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have an image of ourselves that we don't like, right? Instead of being in acceptance and saying, this ain't me, this is not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's the choices I made. That's the false image I had of myself. But in this next moment, I'm choosing for love. The healing has occurred. But if we get into denial, right? Then the next step is we're going to project it out, because we think that by projecting it on others that we get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But because remember, there's only one of us. So when you're projecting it, what appears to be on others, we're just projecting it on ourselves.
and then he wrote the next sentence he wrote to give us a physical picture. He says, you will throw it up and out and let it land on whomever happens to be nearby. We all know what throw up is like, right? It says projection is the effect of the denial of the first axiom that I have given you. It is the denial of the truth that nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you.
Yeah. So when we keep saying something outside of me is causing this, we're in denial.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because what happens outside of us, right, is no more than a projection of what's inside of us. We're seeing it that way because of some fear or some limitation or some conditioning that we have in our own experience, that we're allowing that to lead us and to be the lens in which we are seeing things. If I'm looking through the lens of I grew up in poverty, so I have a mentality of lack, and all you're gonna see outside of you is what?
Lack.
Lack, yeah.
Remember when we went through the book study and it says, if you want the happy consciousness, if you want happiness, get the what? Happy
Happy
consciousness.
consciousness.
Because everything is in what? Consciousness, right? Everything is in consciousness. What is consciousness? Right? It is the way we perceive, how we are interpreting our surroundings. Are we looking through the lens of oneness? Are we looking through the lens of innocence? Are we looking through the lens of wholeness? Are we looking through the lens of abundance? Are we looking through the lens of joy and happiness and peace? Because that's what we'll see. I heard it says the other day there, you can never see white light looking through what? Tinted glasses. If I had orange tinted glasses, I can't see white. I'm gonna see orange
They said
tint.
it was like you can't see white snow.
White snow
Or
looking through orange
orange.
glasses.
Mhm.
So the lens in which we are seeing things is determining what we see.
Mhm.
So forgiveness is the removal or the shift from one perception to another. Remember, the Course of Miracles is define forgiveness that way. It says forgiveness is a shift in perception. You forgive or you give, like forgiveness, or you forgive or you give up one perception for another. You give up one way of seeing for another way. So we give up our individuality point of view, and we take on the view of Christ, which is oneness. And everything changes. It said when you change the way you look at things, the thing that you look at change. So it's always been our perception, and our perceptions have been formed by our conditioning. So see, we have to go back to where the error was made, and the error was made in our decision.
Jill, did you have your hand raised?
Oh, no, I didn't have my hand raised. I was, because I'm driving.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right, well, look, I'm closing the book. Anybody have anything else to